of this teddygaming, and welcome back to another review on the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the Tales of TMNT, Volume 2, issue number 10, Kaddish. So, I probably said that wrong, so sorry, but basically, this whole story, and even the name for this issue, is all to do with the Jewish religion. So, going into this issue, I was generally curious about this one, just because for the past few years now, I've been quite curious in other religions, cultures and stuff like that. And when hearing this about the Turtles exploring the Jewish culture and stuff like that, I was quite curious about it all. And after reading it, I do feel still that this story was written in a poor taste for the Jewish community in terms of some scenes, but I don't know if it's just the way that I'm reading it and thinking because they are presented one way in this issue, it makes them seems as though the people actually making the comic did write in poor taste, so I'm not too sure about that. But also at the same time, this whole story just feels so short and if anything a little bit pointless because of some stuff that's happened in this issue, but I guess we'll wait and see if some of this stuff does actually play out into other issues, which I do hope it does, because otherwise this issue might just be one of the worst ones we have made for this Tales of TMNT stuff, so yeah. Okay, so the actual story itself, we do get to see this crime wave going on, and it's happening in this Jewish community, and it turns out that it's this big golem clay thing, which we'll be talking about in just a minute. But basically this golem thing has been destroying shops and stuff like that, and the police aren't able to do anything because there's no evidence or something like that. So the Jewish community are really annoyed by it, and they go out to try and find the person who's actually doing this. And that's when I come across Donatello, and Donatello's just going through the rubbish and he's picking out some stuff to take home to a lair and build some stuff, but that's when he comes in contact with the people. And then it's here where I do feel as though this is where it starts with the whole poor aspects of this comic, where basically start to treat the Jewish community in a poor way. Just because when we do get to see this, the first thing that we should do is just start attacking Donatello. And then also another reason why I do feel so this scene in particular was a very poor taste one, was just because Donatello said basically he was going through garbage and stuff like that. However, the Jewish community for some reason took this out of context and thought that Donatello was talking about their stuff and started to attack him. So I don't know, I feel this bit may be in poor taste, but I don't know how to really think about it, just because I could be thinking one way and not be thinking the right way, so I may be wrong about this, but it just feels they immediately went into fighting and was taking things out of context. I don't know, just something about it just feels they could handle this scene a lot better, but I don't know how they could have, but it's one of those kind of scenes, I say. So then after that, we do get to see the Golem. He returns to his home, and that's when he gives this person who's called Ben, he gives him his medicine, his food and stuff like that. Now the next day we do get to see Donatello. He's looking around online, seeing basically what's all this going on with all the Jewish community attacking him and stuff like that. And that's when he decides to go out and try and find out who this person is who's doing stuff. And he does this, and he finds his mud, and that's when he comes in contact with the big monster called Golem. And at first they start to fight each other, and this does lead Donatello to going back home with the Golem. And we do get to see the Jewish community, they find out about this, and let's go over to the house. Now here we do get to see the Golem is talking to Donatello about the person he's looking after called Ben, and it turns out that he's died, and this Golem was basically the one thing which was keeping Ben alive, and was basically there after another person had died to keep Ben alive, if that makes sense. So that's when the Jewish community comes in and they start to break stuff, and they start to want to kill the Golem because of what it is and stuff like that. And then this leads to a big fight outside, and we do get to see one of the people tell Donatello to basically wipe away an E off the Golem's head and now kill the Golem. And the reason for that is just because the text that was written on the Golem's head was in the Jewish language. I'm not too sure what it's called, so I'm sorry about that, and yeah. And I must admit, I do find this bit to be pretty interesting, because when Donatello removed it, it did kill the Golem, and the reason for it was because when the writing was on his head, it meant truth, but when Donatello wiped away the E from the word, it meant death, and that somehow killed the Golem. And that's pretty much where we do end this story off. But then we do have like an epilogue bit where we do get to see the Golem comes back to life, and then it's revealed basically the Golem has the like pie symbol inside of his head, and that basically means like he can live on forever and stuff like that. So with that being said, it's just like makes it a bit pointless having the text on the outside of his head. So I do find that to be a little bit weird, but yeah, I don't know what to really say about that. It just seems so weird. But yeah, I mean, must admit, overall, I do feel as though that this issue, I really want to love it. I mean, when reading about it, hearing that like they're gonna be exploring like some Jewish stuff in this issue, I did have like a lot of like expectations going into this one. I really expected to like learn quite a bit about the Jewish community, religion, faith, and stuff like that. But instead, I didn't really learn anything. The only thing I learned was about the truth and death thing, which I must admit I did find that to be pretty interesting. But other than that, I just found that this issue was very short, simple, and just wasn't really too much in there. And if I don't bring the Golem character back again, I do feel as though this whole issue again was pretty pointless and stuff like that. I mean, I really do want to enjoy this issue, but there's like so little in this one which I can really say like, yeah, this was good. But yeah, and then even what I was saying about earlier with like some of the stuff that maybe being poor taste about Jewish stuff. I mean, I don't know if that's just me like thinking because of how they presented some of the characters in this issue, but it may just be me thinking that because of how they presented. But either way, I thought like they were okay in the story. I felt like they could have done a lot more, and I do feel as though they could have been presented a little bit better, stuff like that. And yeah, but it just felt as though that they weren't really there. It just felt as though that I was there to just move the story along and not really there as like actual characters or something like that. So that bit was a little bit annoying, and yeah. Now for the trivia for this issue, there was barely any. It was basically the like only trivia about this one was basically saying about the E, like when you remove it, it turns the truth to death thing and stuff like that. So there wasn't really too much trivia there. The artwork for this issue, I must admit, I was quite surprised at, and I did really enjoy it. I did think it looks really great and beautiful, and it did work really well for this like story. And it's an artist which I would like to see come back and do some more tell stories, because I do feel as though like they have a lot of potential to tell a lot of really interesting stories and stuff like that. But I guess we'll wait and see, because I'm not too sure who the artist is, and I do hope they return because they were really great. So yeah, let me know in the comment section below what you think about this issue. Do you like it? Do you not? And yeah, that's it for today, guys. If it doesn't, please share. Let's just grab on stuff. Goodbye, yo, and bye.